The following forum was recorded on Tuesday, September 2nd, prior to candidate Christine Gibson's withdrawal from the Ward 1 school committee race. Although Christine Gibson has withdrawn, her name will remain on the ballot. Accordingly, NewTV and the League of Women Voters are releasing this forum to provide voters with information regarding candidate Arrianna Proia's positions. This forum has not been edited for content. The decision to air this forum does not serve as an endorsement by the League of Women Voters of Newton or NewTV for the remaining candidate. Hello and welcome to this candidates forum for the Ward 1 School Committee. The general municipal election will be held on Tuesday, November 4th for all municipal offices. Mail-in voting and early voting opportunities will also be available. I'm Jen Adams, the news director of Newton News at NewTV, and I will serve as the moderator today. This forum is co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Newton and NewTV. The League of Women Voters of Newton urges all residents involved in Newton's electoral process, whether as a voter, supporter, organizer, or candidate, to maintain integrity and reliability in all campaign activities. Ensure that communications are relevant, truthful, and fact-based. Become educated on the issues. Be open to honest debate. Maintain civility as we focus on our shared interest in Newton's future. And show one another courtesy and respect, especially where there may be a disagreement. The League is responsible for communicating with the candidates and organizing the format, questions, and moderators. NewTV's primary role is facilitating production and dissemination of the forums. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan, multi-issue political organization that promotes informed and active participation in government. While the League encourages their members to become politically active, there are specific procedures in place to ensure the integrity of the forums and fulfill their commitment to being a nonpartisan organization that does not support or oppose any political party or candidate. Questions for this forum were solicited from the Newton League's member base and from their board of directors. Please be assured that all efforts are made to create a wall between all of the candidates and League forum planning. Members actively engaged in candidate campaigns are excluded from the forum questions. And now, on to our forum. In Newton, the 9-member school committee consists of 1 member per ward and the mayor, elected by voters throughout the city. The responsibilities of the school committee are to select and evaluate school personnel, including the superintendent and all other school officers and employees, to review and approve budgets for public education in the district, which includes ordinary, maintenance, and repairs on all school buildings, furnishing them with proper fixtures, furnishings, and equipment, and to establish educational goals and policies for the schools in the district, consistent with the requirements of law and statewide goals and standards established by the State Board of Education. We will begin by meeting the 2 candidates for the Ward 1 School Committee in ballot order. Christine Gibson has lived in Newton for 4+ years and is a part-time educator, graduate student in education, and primary parent of 3 children. Arrianna Proia has lived in Newton for 24 years and is a community organizer with the Charles River Watershed Association. We will start with a 90-second opening statement from each candidate. Then we will pose the same questions to both candidates that will apply to issues or qualifications for their particular office. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond to each question. I, as the moderator, will decide if there is a need for a rebuttal. Rebuttals are 30 seconds for each candidate. Final closing statements will be limited to 1 minute. Now let's go to the opening statements, which will be 90 seconds for each candidate, and we will start with Christy. You have 90 seconds.
Hi, my name is Christine Gibson, and I'm asking for your vote for the Ward 1 School Committee seat. I'm running to fight for the identity of Newton as a city with world-class public schools that challenge and support each of our children in our diverse community. I intend to both support Superintendent Nolan's curricular initiatives in the budget process and evaluate them based on student outcomes. I also want to help our city work through the significant budget challenges it faces in the coming years and increase transparency around the financial decisions we are making as a city. Today, as we're taping, is the first day of school and a big day for my family. My oldest child is starting middle school at Bigelow. My younger 2 are starting 3rd grade and kindergarten at Underwood. My husband is starting a new lease for a business venture, and I am starting my 4th of 5 semesters towards my master's in teaching English as a second language. I have worked in 20 classrooms across 3 districts since the pandemic as a tutor and substitute teacher, as well as volunteering on the school parent council for Underwood as a science fair chair and a chair of the Creative Arts and Sciences Committee. In Boston, I served on the citywide parent council. I am experienced as a parent and educator across a variety of public school settings and look forward to bringing this experience to bear on the Newton School Committee.
Thank you, Christy. And now we'll go on to Arrianna's opening statement. You have 90 seconds.
Good afternoon. My name is Arrianna Proia, and I'm running to represent Ward 1 on the Newton School Committee. I'm a lifelong Newton resident and a proud graduate of Newton Public Schools. I grew up in a working class family in Ward 1. My dad's a City of Newton firefighter, and my mom worked for our school system. I've also been lucky enough to be involved with numerous nonprofits here in Newton, like the John and Barry Boys and Girls Club, and lead community events like the annual Halloween in the Park in Nonanthem. It's safe to say showing up and serving our city has been ingrained in me since I was born. And I was lucky. Besides my parents, I had other adults and other advocates in my corner for me and my sister who were able to advocate for us when my parents were out serving and representing our city. But I know not every student has that support system, and that's why I'm running to represent Ward 1 on the Newton School Committee. I'm running to be an advocate so that no matter their background, a child has an advocate and the access to thrive in our school system. And that includes my priorities. Providing a long-term budget goal supported by Superintendent Anna Nolan, and strengthening trust between our families, educators, and administrators. I believe Newton succeeds when we put our students first and work together to ensure every child has access to our schools and the support they need to thrive in them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we will move on to our first question, and Arrianna, we'll start with you with this one. What are your top priorities for the Newton Public Schools?
So my top priorities for the Newton Public Schools have to do with education, obviously, but really expanding access to opportunities like advanced coursework, including also, not to forget, our early intervention opportunities. Our kids need to be making sure that we're proficient in math and reading by 3rd grade, and we're not catching that at a later point for, say, when they're about to enter high school. Time and time again, I'm hearing that from families out on the campaign trail that their students are really getting caught at 8th grade level and not at the 3rd grade level. My other priorities also include going back to building trust and transparency with our school committee and with our educators and families. I come from an organizing background. It's part of who I am. We need to be doing clear and consistent communication with our families and making sure they feel like they're being heard as a part of the decision process. My final kind of priority has to do with our budget. We need to break the cycle of uncertainty when it comes to our schools. Time and time again, families are far too focused on where there are cuts coming, when that's happening, not what their kids are learning. We need to work together with the City Council and the Mayor's office and the Superintendent's office to really come together and figure out what we're going to do long term to fix our schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Christy, the same question to you. Would you like me to repeat it?
Sure.
What are your top priorities for Newton Public Schools?
Thank you. I agree with Ms. Proia that early intervention is one of the things that we need to focus on, specifically through the multi-tiered systems of support, sometimes known as MTSS initiative that Superintendent Nolan has been spearheading. This has a great track record at the Ainger School over the last 10 years in both increasing the quality of student outcomes, as well as decreasing our dependence on one-on-one aides, which is a very costly expense for the schools. I also, in the pilot at Underwood this year, where my kids go, the literacy specialist has been able to move student decoding, early reading assessments from 70% of students decoding at grade level at the beginning of the year to they were aiming for 80% by the end of the year and got all the way up to 92% of students reading at targets by the end of the year, which was a great achievement and really reinforces the need for this investment in our schools. So I would like to see that spread throughout the whole district. I also think that the math curriculum overhaul that Superintendent Nolan has promised is a major priority, and I want to see the budget support that, and I want to make sure that all of our citizens, including our seniors who no longer have kids in the schools, understand the budget priorities for our school district.
Thank you very much. Christy, we'll start with the second question with you. Newton's overall school enrollment is declining and is projected to continue declining. What impacts do you think this will have on the district?
I think that it is declining. It is not projecting to decline at the same rate that it has over the last several years. We saw a local peak in 2017 of about 12,500 students. And we're down now to about 11,500 students compared to the low that we saw in the late 80s of about 9,500 students. So we're still well within range of the enrollment that we've seen as an average over the last 40 years. I think that we will the demographers report that came out in the last couple of years showed that while it may continue to decline, we are not going to likely lose, like I say, another 1,000 students in the next 10 years. And so I think we are more looking at a leveling out of our enrollment. I do think that the declined enrollment should impact how we're talking about our building plant and how we're making adjustments to our 2011 facilities plan for the schools that we have been acting on over the last 15 years and that we might need to make adjustments to.
Thank you very much. Arrianna, the question to you. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
Newton's overall school enrollment is declining and is projected to continue declining. What impacts do you think this will have on the district?
Yeah. I think this is a serious concern for a lot of families, especially when there are schools being talked about due to declining enrollment, potentially closing them, and including one in our ward. So for me, I think we need to ask ourselves, why is this continuing to happen? Yes, there is data to show that it is leveling out, like Ms. Gibson said, but why are families either opting out or kind of moving away from Newton? We've been a city that has always been known to have top tier education, and I still believe that is the case. But there is a very clear problem of why that's that something is happening to our enrollment. So we need to figure that out. I don't think it's just up to the school committee to figure that out. I think I'm very big on working with our other supporters like the city council and the mayor's office to really implement plans of retention, recruitment, things like that keep kids in our schools, put them first, and kind of continue forward to ensure that we're not losing any more students in Newton Public Schools.
Yes, Christy, you'd like a rebuttal? You have 30 seconds.
Thank you. I do think that there have been some defections to private schools, and I appreciated Superintendent Nolan's survey of families that had left the district. That indicated that there were a couple of reasons that families tend to leave the district, one of which is lack of academic supports on the low and high ends and a lack of feeling of belonging, and I do think we need to address those things.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to our third question, and Arrianna, we'll start with you on this one. Please describe your understanding of the state of the relationship between teachers, the teachers' union, parents, and the city. What steps are you or will you be taking to address the areas needing improvement, if any?
Yeah, it's obvious. We went through a kind of crazy whirlwind of stuff in Newton about a year and a half ago when it came to the strike. As that we've seen over the past year, we have been working our way back through the superintendent, led by the superintendent Anna Nolan, to really build that trust again, not just with our educators, but really with our families. They have to understand that we're putting their kids first and making those decisions to better them. That's what we're all on the same team when it comes to the school committee, educators, families, and the superintendent's office, of putting our kids first and doing what's best for them. My role, if I'm elected, is to continue that by clear and open communication with our families, to making sure their voices are heard, and also clear communication with our educators to continue to build trust. Because when we're all working on the same team to put our kids first and really elevating them, they are succeeding, and we are seeing that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Christy, the same question to you. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I agree that the trust between the teachers union, the parents, the city it has needed work, and I do credit Superintendent Nolan for bringing the communication channels back into line between the district, the school committee, and the union. My understanding is the previous superintendent, well, I'm very grateful for his service, we did not have great communications with the union, and that was a major impact in the causes that led to the strike. I also think that in terms of with parents, one of the best things, again, that we can do is to make sure that parents have confidence that their children are going to be being taught to read effectively and early numeracy effectively in the early grades, and that really builds trust in the system overall, as well as not having surprises in the educational program. One of the things that I think has been surprising to a lot of families are the multi-level classes that have sprung up. While some of those have been very effective over the past decade in the humanities, the math classes have had a lot more struggle with that implementation in recent years, and I think that the math curriculum overhaul, one of the things that it should do is rebuild parents' trust in the math program in Newton.
Thank you very much, Christy. And moving on to the next question, and Christy, we'll start with you on this one. The achievement gap remains a persistent problem in the Newton Public Schools despite best efforts. What role do you think the school committee can play in addressing this issue?
I think that the school committee should be focused on making sure that we know what those gaps are, that we understand what the district is attempting to do to meet them, and to adjust policies if need be. I think that the math curriculum is a great example of that, where the district has tried an experiment that was designed to close the achievement gap. We're seeing numbers now that indicate that it has not been doing that, at least as implemented. And I think that the role of the school committee is to evaluate that and to say that we are going to continue to fund certain initiatives and not others, and also to make it clear to the superintendent which direction we would like the school to go in.
Thank you very much, Christy. Ariana, the question to you. Do you want me to repeat it? No,
I'm good. For me, when it comes to this, it really looking at we as a school committee need to be setting clear priorities, working with the superintendent's office that academic excellence really is top priority for Newton kids. And what Christy kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but when it came to the multi-level castings, in theory, it's a great process. But it's very clear that not only is it not helping the kids it was designed for, when it comes to those on kind of a lower average of the spectrum, those kids who are at more of an advanced academic level are being capped off and not being pushed to be challenged. There's a real issue when it comes to funding and accessibility for honors and AP classes in our high schools. We need to make, as a school committee, we need to make sure that we're making that a priority for families while also making it a priority to still fund opportunities for early intervention. The superintendent's office has done a great job, but we're not always going to see eye to eye with them. And as a school committee, we need to set priorities that really include putting kids first, like our superintendent's office does. But if there are places where we disagree on funding, we need to really push forward to make sure that academic excellence is still a priority.
Thank you very much. And Ariana, we'll start this question with you. About half of our schools have been renovated in the last 10 years or will be renovated. What do you think the plan should be for bringing the remaining schools up to par?
So I think one of the things we need to be doing is really looking at a district-wide plan. Where are we facing declining enrollment? It's an issue we know that's happening. And when we're going through that process, we need to be talking to all families of how they're feeling. Neighborhood schools is one of the things that really brings residents into our school system, making it walkable, having a school that's right there for families. If we are looking at renovating schools, it's a large budgetary process. Our budget is constrained. These are the facts of it. When we're doing so, we need to be looking at a district-wide plans to really prioritize the schools that need it. And if we need to get creative on kind of redistricting, things like that, making sure that not one school community isn't pitted against another, and that we're all working together to really making sure that our students have the best state-of-the-art quality school systems so that they have a safe learning environment for them.
Thank you very much. Christy, the question to you.
I also think that we need to have a citywide conversation about what our school plan should look like going forward. The 2011 plan has been effective at, as we said, getting us to about halfway through renovating all of our schools, which had been put off for decades. There was really no new school construction between 1960 and the year 2000. So we are currently paying for really 2 generations worth of underinvestment in our physical plant. And I think that we need to acknowledge that as a city, and at the same time as trying to figure out what we're going to do with the remaining buildings. There's often a sense at the moment that the next schools, being Underwood and Ward, are should be the sole focus of this discussion at the moment. And I take a different stance, which is that I think we should be talking as a city about it, because I think that whatever decision is made for Underwood and Ward is going to have repercussions for other schools, including Pearson Williams and Mason Rice and Bowen, all of which need significant work and have some of the same issues going as the Underwood and Ward communities do.
Thank you, Christy. Arrianna, you have 30 seconds for a rebuttal.
Thank you. So when we talk about kind of a district-wide plan, the superintendent's office actually put out a plan to do kind of a 5-year look as a district-wide thing. When we're looking at Underwood and Ward, those are issues that we can't really necessarily put off for 5 years. So we need to find plans, whether it's kind of looking at redistricting, working with those families. It can't just be we're pushing it 5 years down the road as much as we need that district-wide plan.
Thank you very much. And moving on to our next question, and Christy, we'll start with you on this one. What policies would you like to see put in place to improve the mental health of our students?
I think there are 3 areas that I would focus on. One is the policies around electronic devices and social media. I think that the policy at the middle school level that has been implemented for no schools bell to bell has worked out very well, and that we should be learning from that in policies for our elementary and high schools. I think we also, one of the other things, in addition to academic work, that the multi-tiered systems of support intervention structure does is address social and emotional issues before they become major incidents, major bullying incidents, major depressive episodes. It really works with students as soon as they start to exhibit behaviors that are interfering with their schooling. And third, I think we need to look at ways that we can help our high schoolers who need to be out for a variety of medical reasons to readjust to life at school, both academically and socially. Anytime that a student needs to be out for an extended time, there need to be adjustments that need to be made for them and to help them reacclimate.
Thank you very much. Ariana?
Repeat the question.
Absolutely. What policies would you like to see put in place to improve the mental health of our students?
Yeah, so students cannot succeed academically if they are struggling mentally. Some of the things that Christy had already touched on is exactly going to the point of social media and technology, but we're also kind of in this new age of kind of AI and how that really affects our students, not only on their learning, but also how it's affecting their well-being. We're seeing cases of that pop up elsewhere in our state and in the country. So we need to really look at what our AI policy is going to be going forward when it comes to involvement in schools, but also we need to be looking at really funding and putting the supports in place for certain behavioral programs, especially at the high school level. There's the pilot program, making sure that they are counselors, they're working with students who are really at a certain level of either they're out for extended periods of times or they have these kind of set in stone issues for behavioral problems or mental well-being problems, really making sure we're funding those programs and giving the teachers the best resources there, but also really incorporating wellness and kind of academic resilience and education when it comes to kind of student mental health into our everyday classes, making sure students are feeling supported in their general ed classrooms, but going forward on other kind of ways we can kind of really create an environment for students that they feel included upon and that they have an advocate or resource or someone that they can go to and talk to about how they're feeling.
Thank you very much. And moving on to our next question, Ariana, we'll start with you on this one. One of Newton Public Schools' core values over the last decade has been diversity, inclusion, and belonging. In the current national environment, what strategies can Newton employ to stay true to this core value?
Yeah, so when it comes to diversity and inclusion, especially in our public schools, we really need to making sure that students with disabilities, students who are multi-language learners. I came from a multilingual household. I know from my mom's experience in Newton Public Schools what that was like for her. We really need to making sure we're putting in place that they feel like they have a safe learning environment, and they also have the resources to be accessing every single part of Newton Public Schools, whether that's translating documents, making sure we have translators available, really putting in place the resources for our families to feel that they have supported. That goes also with our students with disabilities. Additionally, we need to be proactive that when incidents of bias are happening in our schools, which unfortunately sometimes they do, that we're taking swift action and making sure that it does not continue to happen. Really kind of being more proactive than reactive when those incidents are happening, and continuing that.
Thank you very much. Christy, the question to you.
Yes, I agree that the diversity, inclusion, and belonging continue to be very important things for our school district. We have a school community that includes students that speak more than 60 different languages and come from a variety of home cultures, even within English-speaking households. We have a lot of students who have all different types of neurodivergence in different areas, and that all of those things need to be included as assets in the classroom and acknowledged as things that the students bring with them that are part of who they are and part of what we need to celebrate in the classroom. I do think that there have been, I know that there have been additional instances of bias and sort of hate speech incidences across the district, and my impression of how the district has responded in the last year has been that they've come across as being very firm that that is not acceptable, and I would continue to support that as a policy to make sure that all of our students feel welcome and included as much as we possibly can in our diverse community.
Thank you very much. And moving on to our next question, Christy, we'll start with you on this one. Budgetary constraints have limited the number of initiatives our new superintendent would like to undertake. Which of her new proposed initiative would you prioritize in additional funding, if additional funding became available, and why?
Yes. As I said before, I would be prioritizing the multi-tiered systems of support intensive interventions at the elementary and middle school levels to make sure that all students by 4th grade have effective literacy and numeracy, as well as social skills that will help them throughout their entire education and allow them to learn whatever they want to learn in the future. I would also prioritize the math curriculum overhaul, which has an upfront cost to it that is something that we would need to invest in as a district.
Thank you very much. Arrianna, the question to you.
Yeah, I would also have to agree with Ms. Gibson on really funding the MTSS. It is clear that it is working in our pilot programs, and that is something that students across the district should have access to, because like I said, we're hearing time and time again from families that students who aren't meeting their proficiency in math and literacy at grade level 3, it's not getting caught really until they're about to enter high school, and that's a clear problem. And funding this would be something that's very important to our district as a whole. I think Superintendent Nolan has an array of policies through her Thrive budget that would be something that we really need to consider carefully as we go to look and fund, because it's working on certain policies. Let's see what else she can do. We got to give her the resources to kind of continue that streak of goodness she's on.
Great, thank you very much. And it looks like this will be our last question. Arrianna, we'll start with you on this one. What is the role of the schools in helping students to have a civil discourse when encountering controversial or partisan situations?
Yeah, as someone who actually went through Newton Public Schools the first time we had a pretty contentious national election in 2017, it's something I saw up close, well actually in 2016, it's something I saw up close and personal of how our schools handle it. Really creating space for students to be heard when they aren't necessarily feeling safe due to what's going on the outside in the national politics, but also reminding that, you know, we're here in school to really making sure our kids are learning academically, but that doesn't discount the fact that if there's stuff going on nationally, it may be affecting them, and we have to account for that. We don't know necessarily a student's per se background, family background, whether they are being affected by what's going on with immigration. You don't know, and it's not our business either. We're here to teach our kids, support them the best way we can, and really just make sure that we're putting them first academically, emotionally, and making sure that their well-being when they're in school from bell to bell, that they're being taken care of.
Thank you very much, Arrianna. Christy, the same question to you.
Yes, I think our schools have a central role in helping students to be able to engage in controversial discussions throughout their childhoods as well as their adult lives, to learn how to do that in a constructive and respectful way. There are many topics that both locally, regionally, nationally, that many people disagree on, and we need to find ways to have those civil discourses. And students need to be given the chance to try that out in a space where they're being supported in how to say things respectfully, and how to take things respectfully as well, so that students can express a diverse range of opinions and ideas, and also express when and how those ideas can feel hurtful. And to do that in a way that allows for grace and understanding, and the exchange of ideas and the growth of children's minds.
Thank you very much. All right. Now we will go to closing statements. Each candidate has 1 minute, and Arrianna, we'll start with you.
Today, you've heard my vision for Newton schools, making sure that every kid has opportunity to be able to thrive in our school system, as well as being able to, we need to make a plan to sustainably fund our schools to end the uncertainty in our budget. And we need to continue to restore trust through transparency and collaboration. I know firsthand how powerful it is to have advocates, and I know how great it is how great our school system is. I'm a product of that environment. But I know there's more we can be doing, and we can continue on the path that Superintendent Nolan and the rest of the school committee has kind of already put us on. On November 4th, I ask for your vote to put our kids first and build a stronger Newton together. My name is Arrianna Proia, and I'd be honored to earn your support.
Thank you very much. Christy, you have 60 seconds.
Thank you all for watching to the end of this forum. Again, my name is Christine Gibson, and I look forward to being an independent voice on the school committee, ready to use my knowledge of the Newton Public Schools and other regional school districts in the service of our city. There are so many different interests in Newton: voters with kids in schools, voters without kids in schools, international families who are taxpayers, and school families but can't vote. It would be a challenge and a privilege to work to balance them all, to create trust within this community and transparency around the choices that we're making. I would look forward to doing that and be honored to serve on the school committee, and ask that you come out and vote for me on November 4th.
Thank you very much. And thank you to both candidates for participating. Muchly appreciated. I also want to thank NewTV and the League of Women Voters of Newton for providing this opportunity for voters to learn more about the candidates. Let me remind the viewers that both of these candidates are running for Ward 1 School Committee. All Newton voters may vote for one of these two candidates. The polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you will not be able to get to the polls on November 4th, you can vote absentee or early, by mail or in person. For further information, including to learn where your polling location is, call the Newton Elections Department at 617-796-1350 or visit the city's website at newtonma.gov/government/elections. Be sure to check the Newton League's website at lwvnewton.org for more information about their upcoming Voters Guide. Today's forum is a co-production of NewTV and the League of Women Voters of Newton. Any use or reuse of this program requires the approval of NewTV and the League and must be shown in its entirety without any editing, only after the program initially airs on NewTV. The League of Women Voters, as a nonpartisan political organization, does not support or oppose specific candidates or political parties. It does, however, take positions to advocate for issues that it has studied. Membership in the League is open to all people. Contact or visit lwvnewton.org and follow them on Facebook and Instagram. NewTV is Newton's award-winning state-of-the-art media center, specializing in television production, training, and building community partnerships. It is Newton's primary source of locally relevant programming. Membership in NewTV is open to all Newton residents. For more information, call 617-965-7200 or visit the website at newtv.org. I'm Jen Adams for the League of Women Voters and NewTV, and I thank you for watching. Participate in our elections, and remember, democracy is not a spectator sport.